This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome to DevOps-training. So myself is Raghu, and I'll be tutor for this particular training. So first thing first, a sincere request from my side. Please don't unmute unless until end of these particular slides, so that we'll be on plan. We'll be completing in time. I don't want to waste your so weekend evenings or mornings. So please bear with me. Don't unmute unless until till completion of few sessions. Okay. So yeah, let's get it started. So myself is Raghu. I have close to 10 years of experience in IT industry, and I have been delivering the sessions on part-time as a part-time trainer from almost like 8 years, and delivered on different technologies, so middleware and Linux administrator and cloud computing, shell scripting, Python, and so now majorly into DevOps and Kubernetes trainings. Okay, so this is what my short profile, and I work for an enterprise company. So we have almost like close to 45 applications. Out of them, 35 we are running on container technologies, so which is on OpenShift and Kubernetes, so which are live applications. And so yeah, so my exposure would be definitely helpful for you in answering the questions what all you'll be having and while delivering these particular sessions. Okay, so that's pretty basic introduction about my side. And so once again, so let's get into the session. But before to the session, a sincere request from my side. So which please don't unmute. So I'll give you ample amount of time at the ending, so we can talk about what you have, any queries, and at the ending. So we will discuss about them. So the today agenda for this particular session is what we need to know about is what is DevOps anyhow. But I would like to present that in this way. So how or what do you have before DevOps, and and after that, so how cloud is become a mandatory part with the DevOps, and finally we'll be discussing about what are the tools which we are going to discuss in our sessions. So this is the pretty um, you know basic idea I want to put it with this particular session. And first thing first, okay, so here we're going to know about what is DevOps. But to understand what is DevOps, let's understand what is there before DevOps, or what is the business which caused DevOps. And the business is which is software development. And during the software development, um, in the software during the software development life cycle, or during the software development, so, and the complete, the phase of the software development, we usually call it as SDLC, software development life cycle. And it is a common methodology which is followed by the developer to make their product successful. And there are different types of methodologies which are available. So which is something called as waterfall model, something called as v-shaped model, iterative model, agile model. You have different models which developer can approach and so complete their particular project. Okay, so now while picking this particular methodology, so I have given a diagram, so which is tools. So because we can easily understand by that. So every tool, we cannot use it for every requirement, right? It doesn't make sense. So we have to pick it based on what you need. The same thing, methodology also applies the same thing to the developers. Okay, so they usually pick it based on their requirements. So as waterfall was famous, we cannot use it lifelong. Or agile is famous, we cannot use it everywhere. So we have to think about what we're doing. And so then okay, we have to choose that particular one. Not we, basically the developers will choose that particular part. Okay, but there are two models which were widely used, which is a waterfall model and agile model. So waterfall model is a very old one, and which has been used by most of the organizations, before a decade. So even still, waterfall model is being followed by so many companies because because it has certain advantages which helps the companies to deliver their products in a right way. Okay, so but waterfall model is having some problems, okay, as well. So let's try to understand this waterfall. So earlier waterfall model was the most generic model, which was used by at least you can say 90% of the requirements, 80 to 90% in between with waterfall model. But there are other models as well. Okay, but waterfall model, if you try to understand, so it will be very specific about deliverables, and it is very, very good for planning. So you take Microsoft Windows operating system, it takes years to complete. It takes years to complete, and a new product basically, not an existing product. So it's like a mixed methodology. Okay, they might be following a mixed methodology, so which is a waterfall model plus agile model, because it takes years to complete their product, and waterfall model clearly gives their vision to complete the product. And after that, so every time we are getting the updates. So we are, so today Windows operating, earlier we used to not get the updates. So back, if you go for pure waterfall model of Windows XP operating system, we never used to get updates over the internet. We get them as a service pack over over years, in 6 months or 1 year. So they used to release a service pack patch. Okay, so along in CD or somewhere, so we used to install that. So that takes years to give a bug fixes and features. But today it is not the case. Okay, so every 15 days or 2 weeks or 1 month, you're seeing some update coming up. So every time they're asking an update. You take mobiles, so there are a lot of apps every day asking for updates. Okay, why this is happening? So because today the market is changing, so waterfall model cannot suffice in that particular requirement. The main problem out there is no backstage. That means the waterfall model, if you see a small diagram here, is going from step one to, it is going down. So that is how that methodology is designed. The name itself is telling waterfall. Water will always flow from top to bottom. It will never go back in, in reverse to the gravity, right? So the same approach. So you go step by step to the down, not to the upside. So if you go upside, it becomes expensive because you have to redo a lot of things, and it becomes most expensive. So normal companies cannot afford this particular one. But whatever it is, waterfall model was one of the so well established model or well successful model in the market. So once upon a time, is like almost like a decade back, and it has certain teams actually, so which were doing some operations job. So today world is web applications, and this idea was there almost two decades back itself, almost like 20 years from now. The people approach was making web applications. Okay, so that time only end user applications, but now today enterprise applications also are being working on a model of web-based applications. Simple example. So earlier, let's say I have a company and I want to use an email server to send out emails, to send out emails from one user to another user in an organization. Definitely, we need a mail server. And in order to do that, so what we usually do is we used to buy the software from Windows or some Jimbra or someone. Windows is well known for email exchange. So we used to buy the software, and we need to install that particular one inside some of our servers, and we need to run it. And with that server help, we used to send out emails. Today that is not the case. So if you want an email server, you don't need to maintain anything from your side. Sorry, Microsoft is providing a product called as Office 365, and so you can just go out there and sign up as a company, and enterprise. And so let's you say that we want these many users, and they'll provide those many users. You can just sign up, and they use Office 365 to send out an emails. So today that is a business is happening, and Microsoft is pushing that too much. Okay, so that is how it is, it is running. So such big applications has been, made it as from rich application which we install. From web-based application, they made it as a thin application. Okay, so everything it's their headache. So it's a simple web-based, I use it. right? So the same case with the associated products like so Office as well. Earlier, I need to download Microsoft Office and I need to run it. So today, the same Office 365 will allow you to use other products as well if you buy them, and along on the web browser. You really no need to install anything at all other than a browser with internet. Everything will be taken care as a web application. So that's where so the interest of web applications has been there from pretty long time. So for end user applications like so Gmail or Google, or you take Amazon.com, okay, so such e-commerce applications, eBay, now so after that social media probably started with Orkut, and after that Facebook. But you have so many. Okay, so those their interest was from the day one. It is web-based application, no need to install anything. Okay, so even some social applications like Yahoo Messenger, you need to install something on your so you used to install something on your local machine. Okay, but Gmail came up with Google Chat completely on web-based browser at that time itself. So back in 2000, 2003 to 2003 2004, right? So that is how so the market is web-based. So today we are in web-based applications, and we are in a cloud world. So the behind the word is keyword is cloud. Everything being offered as a service simply over the browser. Okay, so and you consume and you pay whatever you consume for. You don't need to run anything on your environment. So enterprise is vastly moving, transforming into web-based applications. Earlier, they used to give the products, you need to install them and you need to run them. So, but today, that is not the case. So we are giving the products of giving the products over the web-based applications. So such web-based applications, so in order to, so developer is making the code, and in order to run that particular web-based application, so people used to have different teams like build and release team, so who used to take the code and compile, and after that we used to have some testing team to test the product. Of course, the testing is really really important. So for not only for IT industry, so anywhere quality is really important. Okay, and after that there is a teams called as middleware, and the middleware team is usually maintaining the application. So they usually, so let's say you're using Amazon.com, so there is a team behind inside Amazon maintaining Amazon.com website, ensuring your website runs 99.99% uptime. Okay, so so that is a team who is responsible for that. They call it as middleware admins. And the next one is a system admin. So there are sysadmins who are going to responsible for maintaining those systems. Without a system, you cannot run an run an application. So sysadmins are really important. And every application will be having databases. So there'll be different DBA teams, so which is supporting your applications. Okay, you take Amazon.com, so they'll be definitely having 10 different 10 different databases using for different purposes, not single database. So that is not how companies applications operates. They'll be having different applications. Okay, so these are the teams which are successfully operating and delivering the product. Okay, that's fine. So with waterfall model, but today, so the market is changing, the requirements are changing, and based on that, so the waterfall model, we cannot wait for so WhatsApp has a certain let's say 20 features today in 2019. So if they release their first version on 2009, so let's say if they don't want to release on to 2009, if they would have waited for 2019 to release all those features, so haven't been into the market, and then what happens? So they will lose the business. They lose the business. Okay, that's where so today market is a different way of marketing basically. Okay, so you need to be first in the place. You need to be first in the place, and you have to develop the features according to the customer demands. Okay, and as well as market demands as well. So continuously you have to release your applications. So not so that's what your mobile applications is happening, right? So every alternate day, you don't know what the update is coming. They'll say improvement, they'll say sometime feature, they'll say sometime bug fix, kind of things you always will be seeing in the description. Okay, so that's how enterprise is also even now operating. So they are releasing the applications continuously, so within a short span of time. Okay, so that's what agile methodology is telling. So if you want to make 10 features, and the 10 features, let's say, is going to take 5 years to complete, you don't need to wait for 10 years. So be in the market. Okay, so make the base application, make the very basic application, be into the market, grab the customers, and then make the development. Okay, so as I worked in Oracle, so there used to be there used to be sessions explaining how Oracle has been evolved, and even you have that in YouTube as well if you go for Oracle Success by Larry Ellison. So back in 1990s, when he made this first, so whenever he worked for an organization and made the DBA possible with RDBMS concept. Okay, so so he completed that project wherever he's working for, and came out with that particular product and started an organization. Okay, but he hardly had 2 or 3 employees that time, and he doesn't have a very good product. Basically, Oracle was not that good, database was not that good product that time, and so yet he want to be on the market. But how can be on the market? So he cannot be on the market. So then he started giving the false promises, marketing. So we cannot say the false promise, because he had a vision that he can do that. He's a developer, by the way, and he had a vision, clear vision, that he can do that, and he didn't did that. Basically, he didn't have that. Okay, because he doesn't have even a money to buy sorry to recruit developers and complete complete the development. So then he started marketing himself, saying that, okay, so he used to list the features which were not there in that market. Okay, people were eagerly looking for such features, but that features were not there in the market, and he is giving those particular he's giving those particular features, projecting to the customers. So then customers like that and started taking this particular product. But he is putting some timeline. In this timeline, I'll provide this. Okay, so then he got a bunch of customers, and he made the development, and he was successful. Okay, so think about, so it's all about the marketing strategy. So now that's what even Agile is telling you. So be in the market for the first time. So how Oracle is successful? Because they were the first in the market. Okay, so with all the features given, so still they lead in relational databases. Okay, so that is how their journey has started. So even everyone try to start their journey, so that's what Agile is telling everyone. You start the journey, so be in the market. So so deliver your products, and in timely fashions. And the timely fashion, we usually call it as sprint. And we usually, we will talk about these sprint and methodology in detail in the sessions. Just try to understand every 2 to 4 weeks is the general time period for releasing an application. Okay, so that's what Agile is telling. But they're not stopping you in putting a custom value as well. So let's say you take Jenkins as an example. So I hope everyone is aware of Jenkins utility. If you go for Jenkins and they releases, so how frequently they are releasing, let's go and see them. So I'm just going for past releases, list of all the releases, and you see the current release which you happened, which is 2.164. 2.164 first version happened on March 14th, 2019. But what is the previous version? 2.150, and that version happened on 3 months prior, that is December. And before to that, and one more version, so when that happened, so 138, it is on September, so 3 months prior to that. And even if you go for 1 to 1, so it is 06, so that is 3 months prior. So that means you need to understand this. It is 03, and again, so that means every quarter, so they are making a release. So that means every 3 years, quarter is, yeah, so every 3 years they are making a releases, a major release, and minor release is happening. So they are making some improvements, small improvements and fixes. So they're making, giving 1 month one, every 1 month one is they are giving. Okay, so that is how Jenkins is operating. So 3 months, in the 3 months, first is the major one, and the next two one is minor releases, and the fourth one is going to be the next release. That is how they are operating. They are also operating on agile methodology, but that, their span is 3 months because it's a big product. So you need to think about that way as well. So depends upon your business, you can tune this. Okay, and agile best as a best practice they tell you is 2 to 4 weeks um, you should be um, releasing your production. You should be releasing an application to the production. Okay, that's where production in the sense the web application you are going to release, and the end user will see those particular changes. Fine. And the next thing which you have is operations team. Okay. So here certain advantages are there. So the agile agility is the advantage. Okay. So decrease the time which is required to release some features, and feedback. You're going to take the live feedback from the customers. So based on the feedback, you are going to fix the issues in a very short span in the 2 to 4 weeks. The customer is also happy, and the customer asks some features as well, so they will they'll take those features, and so they release in the upcoming releases. And as far as market needs whatever they have, so they will so they are going to make those things as well. So we'll talk about those, so how do you release the uh, products with agile in detail in the later sessions, in the actual sessions. But just try to understand, so this is what happens, and ultimately the quality is high because it is small releases you're happening, and you check that small piece rigorously without any issues, and you can say that yes, it is working fine, so that your product also goes quality. Okay, so with less bugs. All right. And the next thing is going to be, so how about operations? So the operations comes to the same teams, because agile model, it was an old model, we were using the same teams. And uh, sorry, with waterfall model we were using the same teams, and agile also we started implementing the same teams. But after implementing the same teams and over years, actually the company started facing certain issues. So back in 2014, Accenture has made some survey with Chef OpsWorks, and this is the result of their survey. This is not my points. So every word actually has been pulled from their presentation in one of the DevOps conferences. So which are very important points. So first thing is more time. These operations team is taking more time, and the reason for that is and the reason for that is that what are the reason they are taking more time for testing and building than development. Testing, deploying, okay, so changes, all these are taking more time than the development team is making the effort. Development team are the persons who are making the product. If they are taking the more time, that makes sense, but whoever is doing the operations is taking more time, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so because of lot of manual effort, they are doing. Okay, so and as well as that manual effort they are doing in the production deployments as well. So whenever you want to deploy an application into production, so so people are doing a lot of manual efforts. If I talk about manual efforts, I always remember my personal experience. So back in 2011, while I was working for one company, so which is um, mobile based web hosting company. Okay, so our mobile based development company, so they do their self hosting as well, so which is web based applications. So I still remember the company name, a client name which I'm working was Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines was a big airlines company in around America. So they are so I mean at the time mobile applications is just booming. They're not that much pretty big, but they're booming. So BlackBerry was the time you had, so so the company which I was working for, we have a platform to generate the application. The simple a code, a functionality can be exported to all the products like iOS, APK, Android, BlackBerry, as well as Windows, I don't think so, but Windows also they used to have. But whatever it is, okay. So all um, all these um, all these platforms, they are going to release it along with this. So this is a front end. So what all applications I'm talking about is a front end, and the back end, it is going to be a web application. So it hits the web application, and we have almost, I still remember the numbers as well, it is 64 instances at that time. Okay, so 64 servers running our that Southwest application. Now, what people used to do is, they are, you know, they want to do the deployment, so they take an hour or 2 hours downtime on the off the business. So but the time, that means midnight, in sometime in the midnight in US time zone. So they used to take that, and in the 2 hours or 1 hour span of time, so who are the engineers which are available? Let's say 4 to 5 engineers are available, and so let's say 4 engineers are available. So they used to take they used to split those instances, so 64 by 4, and they used to make so 12 or 13 instances each and every one, and they start doing their manual deployment. Okay, so that's really was happening. Okay, that's fine. So then I went ahead and wrote some scripting and made it possible with a single push. Okay, so whenever I was there in the call, I mean, whenever I was there in the the time of the deployment, so I usually used to push this particular using these particular scripts. It's hardly a couple of steps, and validations, all those things can be automated. I went ahead and wrote a script, and it is done, and it's been adopted by other people as well. Okay, till then it was happy. And one day, so one day during the managers were there, we did the same way, and they didn't like that way. And the answer they told was, no, script can cause mistakes. Okay, that's fine. I laughed and left the organization. That's a different story. But still, because they were afraid to adopt such automation, because they get the revenue based on the number of hours we're spending. So if you go to Southwest and say that, let's say in 5 minutes we're doing the deployment, customer is very happy. Okay, but we cannot charge for, so two, let's say 4 resources working for, so these many hours, we cannot charge that much, because the customer will come back and obviously ask, okay, you're doing it so let's say you're just doing in 5 minutes of the deployment. So let's say, or else 15 minutes or half an hour, but why are you charging, so 20 hours, 30 hours for a deployment? Okay, because they're putting all the engineers efforts into building. So they are afraid because the team is that way, so they don't want to adopt the automation. But yeah, so ultimately such teams are getting rid of in the market right now. Okay, so automation is the scope. So manual efforts, a lot of production incidents used to come because of manual efforts. So that's what they surveyed back in 2012. So this is 2012 survey, by the way. And another thing was different values. Development team has different approaches. Operations teams in between them has different ideologies. So let's say, as a middleware guy, okay, so and sysadmin guy is always a problem in the company. So middleware guy, let's say if there is a problem with the application, middleware will say that, so there is a problem in the operating system. And the operating system guy, sysadmin guy, will say that, so I haven't made any changes. It is still there as it is. You deploy the new application. There could be a problem with your application. It's always a, hen and egg problems. Never used to solve them. Okay, unless until, so some high management come into picture, make a calls, or take the support calls from the vendors. Let's say if you're taking the support from IBM guys in the WebSphere, on the middleware part, and let's say in the OS you have some Red Hat or someone. Okay, you take the support, put them in the call after after hours of, even so sometimes the calls goes days also. The outage calls goes days also. Sometimes we have seen the worst situations. So over days or hours, okay, we used to resolve the issues. That is how, the in teams in between them is always a problem. Okay, so that's where these problems were arising by using the teams which we have in waterfall model. Now ultimately we need a solution here. Okay, so we need a solution for this, and the solution would become, okay, and solution became for the management team was is merging them into a single team, operations teams merging into a single team, so which is called as now DevOps team. Now DevOps guy has to do each and every work, whatever you have seen out there, which is build and release team, QA, middleware, and sysadmin, and even DBA. So people are expecting all this kind of uh, exposure to be a DevOps engineer. But everyone, learning all these things is not that easy overnight, right? So because they are emerging. So what usually they do is, whenever they are forming a DevOps team, They take some guy who is from DBA background. They take some guys who is more good in who is more good in sysadmin, and he know DevOps tools. Who is from middleware background, who knows DevOps tools. They form a team. Okay, now they are team. There is no one pinpoint. So now there is no problem with the middleware with the sysadmin, because they're a single team and pointing to the same manager. If they are actually fighting, the manager will manager will take care of that. Okay, so because he's a single manager, right? So that's how, I mean, they will not okay, so fight, because they're a single team now. So the middleware guy is expected to resolve the sysadmin issue because he has access, and the sysadmin guy is expected to so fix the middleware issues, so because he has the access as well. So we cannot escape that. I don't know this. So that is not the kind of approach in today's world. And so emerging this into so these things, you don't need to worry about the much of the technologies, because most of the things has been putting into automation. So that's where we're using a lot of tools. Actually, in agile, we use a lot of tools and the engineering perspective. So the DevOps engineers uses a lot of tools. So the tools is what is going to help you, and no manual efforts. You don't need to worry about much of the things. Okay, so and finally, what is DevOps now? So you understood how DevOps has been evolved. And what is DevOps according to Amazon? So Amazon is one of the most wide company who uses DevOps operations. And according to Amazon, what is DevOps is? DevOps is a combination of cultural philosophies, practices, and tools. Finally, whatever it is that increases the organization's ability to deliver the applications and services at a higher velocity. Okay, you need to change the tools, you need to change the practices, and even you need to change your philosophy. So the same thing, one of the philosophy I'm saying, I don't know. You cannot say that in today's market. So you have to accept the challenge, okay, and you have to complete it. So kind of approach. Okay, so earlier we used to escape. No, this is not my issue. This is not my issue. So we used to escape, but we cannot escape now. We are in the same team now, right? So, but whatever it is, so that is what is a DevOps. And DevOps is a continuous process. It's a never-ending process. So that's where you see an infinite symbol all the time. So development is continuous because they follow agile practices, and your operations is also continuous in in aligned with them, with the development. So you do operations, development do development. So in again, you're changing the practices, you're moving into the best practices. So today in the DevOps world, so we are majorly onto development centric. So there is a keyword which is buzzing, and there is a methodology, not methodology, a best practice which is happening, developer centric. So developer centric is what is approach most of the so most of the people is approaching nowadays. You can read about it as well. Developer centric is a culture, so which is adopted in most of which is being adopted by most of the companies nowadays. And what is this is happening is, see, there used to be a lot of work which earlier and engineers used to take care. Okay, so which some of the example is merging the branches. There is a concept called as merging branches, and those merging branches usually earlier will be taken care by the engineer. So earlier there used to be a team called as build and release team. Those team used to take care, and the code they are merging is a Java code, or could be any code which is made by the developer. This guy doesn't know a single line of Java, yet he used to judge the code which they are going to merge actually. So that was one of the funny thing, because earlier they used to use a version control system called as SVN. Okay, but today no one is using SVN. So SVN is thrown out. So now Git is in the approach, because in the SVN you have a disadvantage is that a developer cannot create a branch. He has to ask the engineer to create a branch, and this engineer will go and create a branch. And creating a branches is always very minimal, because let's say you have a main code which is 1 GB, and your branch also will become as 1 GB. So your size of the repository will always go high. So that's where you will be very cautious about creating the branches, and only few branches will be created as per the requirement. And to control that, the engineer used to do that. But today, a Git repository, you have 1 GB of the RAM, you create a branch, hardly you'll get 1 or 2 MB size only in the branch, because it uses pointers more in the backend. and that's where it saves a lot of your data. I mean, a lot of data in the size basically. So developer can create his own branch. Now today, Git is an approach that developer can create his own branch. There is no point actually me going and merging. So earlier I am doing the job. Now today I don't want to do that particular job, and that's what developer centric culture is telling. Let the developer do what he can do. Okay, so we don't need to go and interfere in their work. So they do their job, we do our job, so to make the things easier. So there won't be any dependencies, and so that merging also happens in a process, and how that process happens we'll talk about with agile methodology and with Jira tool. So we'll try to completely do that particular part in our sessions. Okay, in however the company is, how it operates, so the same way we are going to do that. Okay, so and finally, here, what is your roles and responsibilities? Your roles and responsibilities to maintain the operations. So you need to deliver your application as fast as possible. So developer says we have done with the code, and so then you should be in a position to release that particular code to the production with a minimal downtime. So and that smoother happens only if you have automation. So we use a lot of automation. Um, so using some tool or sometimes some scripting, so whatever it is, you are going to use automation to make the operation smoother. And so even some cases, not some cases, most of the cases, if you want to do the smoother operations, it has to start from the scratch, and the scratch is always infrastructure. So let's say today, if I want to create a new server and deploy the application, if I don't use cloud and if I'm using a physical server, so 1 hour takes my installation of the server, and after that I'm going to do that. So it's a lot of lot of time waste if you have to use your infrastructure also in a right way, so to deliver the applications with minimal downtime. So cloud is one of the keyword out there. So because cloud provides so the services and even infrastructure, so in a more automated way. Okay, so that's where so the cloud is also become a mandatory part to the DevOps engineers. So today, DevOps guy, if you go say earlier, so let's say 5 6 years, I mean, almost like 2012, whenever I started my career as a DevOps guy, I didn't know cloud. I know cloud. Basically, the Amazon was there. I worked on Amazon. We had clients. So the same company I was talking about the automation, so they were worrying, right? So the same company we had Amazon Web Services as a hosting, and we used to work on that. I had cloud experience, but that time no one used to ask me whether I have an experience on cloud, okay? Because most of the organizations were there on still their on-premises environments, and so that's where we really don't require this cloud. But today, if you go out and say that time I used to go out and say that I don't know cloud, probably it worked. But now today, if I go as a DevOps engineer outside and say that if I don't know cloud, no, you'll not get a job. So cloud is an inevitable um, component to DevOps now. So both works together. Okay, any cloud doesn't matter. And what is cloud computing? So there is nothing much to explain. So to you, anything you use it as a service is a cloud basically. Okay, and so cloud provides a lot of advantages, right? So so with lesser cost, it provides a lot of features, like you take scalability, you take productivity, you take speed, performance, and even security also. You'll be getting more and more whenever you use cloud services. So nothing to worry about on any of the feature part with the using the cloud. And as well as cloud provide different services. We'll talk about those while we're discussing about clouds. They provide infrastructure as a service. So sometimes they provide PaaS as a service, platform as a service. They say sometimes provide SaaS as a service. Okay, so different things are there. So infrastructure, platform, software, and yeah. So Gmail is a software as a service. Okay, right? So creating a server is an infrastructure as a service. Creating a database is a platform as a service. Like that, you have different services you have, and we just consume them. And according to the report of a report of right report of right scale. Okay, right scale gives the report each and every year on cloud report they are going to provide. Let me pull the report. In 2017-18, so Amazon is that screenshot. Let's see the right scale. So let's go to 2013 is there, I think. 13 report is not there. Let's go to 2014 report. Yeah, we have right scale 14, so this report, just type in internet right scale reports, you will get the report. And right scale is an organization. They were doing the, so market uses survey each and every year, and they're publishing it of their interest. And so yeah, let's try to understand AWS. If you just go for AWS in 2000 in what year this is, 2014. So this is the story. So they were 54% um, on running apps and running public. Okay, so running the apps, and 23% people are experimenting on Amazon, and plan to use is only 9%. So after that, Rackspace is the first guys who to be on the cloud part actually, but ultimately they lost the game of their laziness in adopting the technology. But Amazon is too good in adopting the technology. So Rackspace was the first guy, as far I know at least, I worked with. So Rackspace back in 2010 itself, they have the so Amazon also is there in 2009, but Rackspace was were widely used actually that time before to that. So 2010, 2011. Okay, but their approach was completely different. Okay, only servers, but Amazon approach is not that way. So they offer services. These guys only offer servers. That's where they lost the game. That's how. That's fine. But Amazon was the story. Okay, Amazon was the highest user. Okay, highest been used in the market. Let's go for 2015. Everyone knows that, but still, I'm just trying to show in a report way. So let's understand the market. Understanding the market is always so important. Okay, I cannot say anything out of my word or out of my mouth, and you should not trust that. You should always cross verify. Okay, I might be saying, because I'm a marketing guy here, demonstrating a demo, I'll say that, so however I have to do, I'll do that way on. But you should be in a position to validate yourself. So that's where we are actually cross verifying whether is it true that Amazon is always better than this one. So if you see the enterprise public cloud usage, Amazon is so still high, and Azure is actually came into little bit existence. Google is will still less, and no Oracle Cloud also at this point of time. So let's go on to 2016 report. And 2016, what is Amazon doing? So Amazon is still leader, or it is being crossed by some other people. So public cloud adoption, public cloud enterprise, where our interest is enterprise. So enterprise, you have Amazon 56%. So still higher, but you see this Azure has picking up so good actually. Okay, so comparing with the previous year and 2017. Okay, so AWS. Mhm. Enterprise cloud adoption. So 2017-16. So Amazon is still leading, and 2017 is light blue, so which is 59%, and actually in 2016 it is 56%, and they increased. So but Azure it is doubled almost. You see this Azure adoption is doubled. Okay, so Azure is leading. Azure also becoming into leading. So in the revenue part, actually, Azure are already crossed Amazon in the revenue part, because they offer public cloud as well as private cloud on the revenue part of including all the products. Okay, so they are putting most of the applications into Azure now, Microsoft. So putting together, okay, so they are more than Amazon's earnings on cloud. Okay, but customers wise, Amazon is still more. Okay, the final one which you have, which is 2018 report. 2019 is not here. Enterprise cloud adoption. So you see this enterprise cloud adoption 2018 versus 2019, 2018 versus 2017. So this is what I'm talking about. So 2018, it is 68%, and so 2017 it was 59% increased, and this also increased, and so clouds are increasing. Okay, Amazon is still leader in 2018. Probably we don't know in 2019 this becomes equal, or Azure might cross it. Okay, it's time for me even to switch my course, at least in Azure as well. Okay, because market is changing, so we have to change the tools as well. Okay, so what we need it in the market. So that's where. So this is the so the survey, so which we are seeing. I think I copied it from somewhere place, might be, probably, that's fine. But still you can see the enterprise cloud adoption. So this is respondents using, okay, apps, respondents using apps. This is, I'm just showing you the public cloud adoption. So that's fine, that's okay, let it be. So Azure, Amazon is the leader. So that's where our cloud, our course is also designed on, the cloud is designed on Amazon Web Services. So here, comparing with any other cloud, Amazon is bigger. So that's the reason we are choosing AWS as the course, as a cloud in our course, basically. Okay, and uh, finally, if you look for the, so trend in the market, so basically, you need, okay, Amazon Cloud in major for the DevOps engineers. Okay, that's what you can just go and put it in somewhere in Naukri.com or somewhere. You look for the trend, you try to put DevOps and look for, so which cloud they're asking. So definitely it will be more on Amazon Web Services. Okay, so that's how you have that one. And as well as on the payment, on the pay perspective, so DevOps is also one of the highly paid job in in most of the countries now in IT industry. So DevOps is one of the highly paid profile in the market. Okay, so that's how it is. I mean, that is how it is happening. Okay, so you can always look their information in the internet. Okay, and finally coming to the last part of the today's session. So what are the tools we are going to discuss about? Okay, so we are going to talk about different tools. So we start with the Linux with shell scripting, our course. So even who doesn't know Linux also, not an issue. We start with Linux and shell scripting, and we're going to talk about the configuration management tool, which is Ansible, only Ansible, not Chef and Puppet. Or why? Let's go back again, see the report again. So let's start from a couple of years back. Okay, so let's come from 2014. In 2012-13, I used to teach Puppet only. I used to teach Puppet. Okay, so not on DevOps, as an individual automation tool, I have delivered a few batches on Puppet as well, because Puppet was only the configuration management tool. At least I know that time, and I was working on that time. So as in Oracle, we used to use, so Puppet as a major thing at that time. And in 2014-15, we shifted that to Chef actually, because it has a lot of advantages over Puppet. Okay, but whatever it is, let's look for Puppet's. So Chef leading in the configuration management. So in 2014, whenever they have given the configuration management, okay, so only Chef and Puppet is what they're giving. No Ansible, no Salt Stack. Okay, I don't remember the year. I think 2014 or 15, sometime while working in Oracle itself. So why I'm especially talking about these tools in Oracle is because we need those tools, because we used to have almost 1.5 lakh of servers, close to 1,50,000 servers we used to have in our team, which we are managing. Okay, close to 70 people are there across the global who are managing these particular servers. But so servers are huge. We want to manage them. We need some tools. Okay, we are always using the tools. Manually, those are not possible to do at all. Okay, so Puppet, so in 2014 itself, okay, Puppet started leading. Okay, with little bit. Okay, so 2013 it was Puppet was 23%, 25%, and Chef was only 19% in 2013. But whereas coming into the 2014, so Chef has become 26% and Puppet become 21%. So in the few companies which they have made the surveys, not all the way, okay, so just few business areas they will touch and make it. So based on that, they'll make the report. Not everyone, but still, okay. So that's how so this Chef became leading into the market in 2014. But in 2013, Puppet was the leader. Okay, and the same case, I don't want to go for each and every year, and Chaf is already the leader. Let's come to the 2018 report. And I was mentioning, so while working in the same 2014, I believe, so I tried Ansible version 1, and I never thought that, Ansible become this much famous, because Ansible version 1 has a lot of disadvantages. It was never working properly and used to not give the report properly, and we had a lot of problems at times. So at least Oracle, we have an internal tool which we call it as Do It. Okay, that tool is far better than Ansible. I think Oracle missed that particular opportunity, okay, to put that particular product to the outside world. Okay, so that's an internal application developed, which is only for our environment. So which is a bigger one of the bigger environment, and later adopted by public cloud teams as well, Oracle public cloud teams, OCI team as well. But we are the team. We are so we had a persons who developed that particular utility, Do It. So in the Do It, actually, we give the shell scripts or any Python script, and we give the host list, and we ask to run it. It used to run on the infrastructure and gather the report and publish it. That is what it is doing. Okay, so the same Ansible was doing that time, but with a little bit more better way. Okay, but we never thought Ansible would become that famous after it had acquisition of Ansible. So then it becomes one of the best products. So today Ansible is beautiful. Okay, and if you look for Chef and Puppet, they are no more. Okay, they are losing, and Chef itself has so Chef itself has given Chef itself has given their complete products as open source a couple of days back, May 3rd or 7th, someday. Chef has announced their complete tools as open source. They know that they're going to lose the market. Okay, so at least making the open source so can hold it for few days. Okay, so that's where so now Ansible is later in 2018. Ansible is later, but this is respondents, but not the enterprise. If you come down a little bit, enterprise will be there. Enterprise is still, Chef and Puppet is leading, but Ansible is not there yet. Next year, this year, it is already the leader. I know that. If the report comes, definitely in 2019 report, Ansible will be there also in the enterprise. The problem with the enterprise is the adoption will be slow. Okay, because over the night they cannot change everything, because huge environments, so they need to have a lot of strategies to change it, so a lot of efforts to change it. It takes time, slower. Enterprise is always slow. But if you look for the general way, Ansible has become already the leader. Okay, so that's where so our syllabus, even my syllabus, even we changed almost 4 times in last 3 years, 2.5 years. Okay, so because that is how we have to adapt in the trainings as well. However, market is leading, we have to lead the same way. Okay, so that's fine. And okay, Ansible is what the configuration management tool we are using over here. And so Git and GitLab, so not GitHub actually, sorry for this. So GitLab is a utility which we are going to use, Git and GitLab. Why GitLab again? Again, market usage. So if you go and look for more Git used tool, GitLab is one of the one. Not Git. I'm not talking about public. GitHub.com I'm not talking about. GitHub Enterprise I'm talking about, and GitLab Enterprise I'm talking about. So GitLab or anyone. So any Git service is anything, any product is fine. That's okay. And even we use Bitbucket there. We use Bitbucket because we'll integrate that with Jira, Atlassian Jira. So we will talk about Jira in our classes. And Jira integration of any Git repository is simpler with Jira is Bitbucket, because that's our own product, native product. So that's where we use that. Okay, so but so we more options will be talked about on GitLab and with the Git basically, and Jenkins. So Jenkins is not only the um, simple Jenkins jobs. We talk about more of the pipelines. So let me show you how we discuss about pipelines. This is important basically. So I have seen most of the people just know that the creation of a freestyle job and say that so they know Jenkins. Okay, that's not the right way of we use Jenkins in the um, real-time world. So we use it completely as a code. We want to run a job, it has to be a code. We want to create a job, that has to be a code. Everything is code. So Jenkins, everything we're going to talk about as code only. Okay, so Jenkins jobs, and you can see the pipeline jobs, and here you can see the CI/CD Ruby. So you see the lot of code here, right? So such code. So here I have kept everything in single place, whatever it is. So here so like this. So everything is going to be a code. Okay, code based approach. Let me show you another batch. A different way I'll make the code usually. So different approaches, pipelines. And so see this, all these are kept in single file in the other batch. Here I just made it in different files. It's all whatever comes out of my mind. I will just talk that way. So here it is a small code, there is a big code. That's the only difference. Okay. So we're going to talk about not only these pipelines, but basically if I want to create a job, you go to new item, click, click, click. That is also not the way it happens in the organizations. So it happens in a different way, which is called as seed jobs. And if I want to create a job, so that job is also going to be a code. Every change. So we're talking about I told you one thing called as developer centric. I told you a particular terminology in DevOps, which we are using, developer centric. And another thing which is happening is GitOps. GitOps is one of the best way of working on CI/CD practices. So this is being adopted more in the market nowadays, and we'll talk about those particular GitOps approach only. Okay, everything on the Git repository. I want to create a server, there should be a code on the Git repository. I want to deploy an application, there should be a code in the Git repository. I want to create a Jenkins job, there should be created. Everything has to be there on the Git repository. So that is what GitOps is. Truth. Okay, most of the companies uses this approach. Like Amazon, you take Netflix. So Amazon and Netflix are the benchmarks for most of the applications. Okay, their approach is the benchmark. Okay, use understanding their approach, people makes their applications. Okay, so that's where Jenkins will talk about more pipelines more. Okay, so and the next thing is so Maven, and so a lot of CI tools, Maven, Gradle, Sonar, Nexus. We consume a lot of many tools. So so Selenium, Python, unit testing, Jira I already talked about. Okay, so many, even Blaze Meter. Okay, JMeter, Blaze Meter we'll talk about on the performance part. Okay, so a lot of tools will be touch based in this area, so CI activities. And also finally coming to the monitoring, so we'll be using one SaaS based solution, which is New Relic monitoring, and as well as ELK monitoring. Okay, log monitoring by using ELK, and any SaaS based solution monitoring by using New Relic, not Nagios. Okay, Nagios is very old way of monitoring. Nagios has their SaaS solution. We can go with that if we want to, but still, okay. So better go for the latest generation monitoring tools. New Relic will be going for, and finally we'll be having Docker. So Docker will be covered in between itself while explaining these particular tools, and we'll be having the platform of Kubernetes also in our course. Deploying our application. So let me be clear. So we're going to talk about Kubernetes, about deploying our application, doing the CI/CD activities, what the DevOps engineer do. So we'll talk about only that particular so we'll explore only that much. But Kubernetes, we have a separate course, so covering more and more on Kubernetes, different tools and utilities which we can use around Kubernetes is what we're going to discuss. We have a separate course, by the way. Okay, so some package managers, everything will be discussed out there. But here we do CI/CD activities, and CI/CD activities we're going to talk about majorly um, deployment strategies. Deployment strategies, DevOps. In deployment strategies, DevOps, there are actually 6 types of strategies generally, so most of the people follow. And so here for the web-based applications, you have few things here, and so you have 6 things. And generally for the web-based applications, we usually use these 2. One is rolling update or incremental update, we call it as, or else blue-green deployments. So we're going to cover these 2 deployments both with the Kubernetes and even with the tools like servers. Okay, with the servers, we'll talk about blue-green deployment and as well as rolling updates. Okay, so we do the deployment by using a harness.io. So there's a utility called there is a SaaS solution for deployment tools. So harness.io is one of the most happening deployment tool in the market. Okay, so if you explore, you will understand that. So luckily they are providing um, luckily they are providing free so at least trial version for few days. We can use that particular one. So earlier there was not giving. So this is how so your deployment dash, so we do the deployment. So we'll come here and with the deployments. All right, cool. So harness. So it's somewhere actually. So it is being listed in the GBL labs. You see this, yeah. So you can see this, moving fast and not breaking things, harness. Okay, so one of the survey, so one of the so blog came out by one of the person. So the reasons behind it, just go and read this. You'll understand that it's a deployment tool, by the way. So you have a lot of deployments. You have Octopus deploy. We used to have um, don't remember the names, so whatever it is. So people use a Rundeck also as a deployment tool. You have a lot of tools out there, but Harness is most happening tool, and it is Indian product. Okay, so it is the company is based out of Bangalore, and yeah, widely used in the market now. Widely evolving in the market. So you see this, like last time I was demonstrating. So this is my deployment is successful, and you see the lot of so this one. So this is actually I'm doing a blue green deployment here. Okay, so this I'm trying to do a blue green deployment. So here step by step. So what it does, it compiles the code, all the things whatever we have over here. So we'll touch base each and everything, and we compile the code and we do the static code analysis and we do the unit testing. Okay, so like that. So firstly we are going to do the dev deployment. One second. So I'm doing the dev deployment. I'm doing UI testing, API testing, uploading the artifacts, and I'll wait for approval. If it is approved, I'll move on to the staging environment. So staging environments, and thereafter deploying. So I'll run some tests. So ensuring my deployment is successful, and I'm doing the cutover. So cutover I'm doing means basically blue green. What is blue green? So blue green. So here blue green is basically it's going to be this way. I just So blue-green deployment is going to be this one, simply to talk about. So you'll be having a live access, which is coming into the blue. And if once our green is ready, so we'll cut blue and we'll point it to green. And now green becomes blue. And after that, one more deployment, one more green comes, and we cut to the that one, and we'll point to this one. So cutover, we usually call it as. So that cutover I'm trying to do. So that means because I'm doing here blue-green deployment. If it's rolling deployments, I know to do this. I can ignore this step. So because so the same one we are actually updating. Okay, so the deployment into the staging itself will go, and after that again the same way approval in the DevOps it is happening the same way. So this is the complete my deployment pipeline. Um, so which we do. We also do the same thing. Okay, in our courses, we use Jenkins a lot in the backend to the harness, and we'll take care. Okay, so these are the tools which we are going to talk about in our syllabus. Okay, and finally on the cloud side, we're going to talk about different services which are required. We talk about network services, we talk about compute services, we talk about storage services, we talk about DevOps services, and even some miscellaneous services are there. We'll talk about those things. And finally, all these will be taken care again GitOps. I want to create a server, GitOps. I want to create a storage, GitOps. Okay, I want to do the CI/CD, GitOps. How does it happen? It is possible with a tool called as Terraform. So with Terraform, we're going to do all these activities. Okay, So that's where okay, Terraform is also major in our syllabus. Okay, so this is what the syllabus which you have. And I think so final thing, so the services which we offer from our side is we provide lifetime recordings of the sessions, because recording is really important. Otherwise, without recording you cannot grab that much knowledge, because we miss all the time some details. So I told an hour demo, probably if I asked you to rephrase each and every word, probably it is difficult. So if I give you the video, and if I give you a 1 month of time, probably you can make it the same way, right? So that's how. Okay, so like recording will always help you in practice, and as well as so anytime during your practice, after this, during the session, you can always ask the question. So today I requested you to hold till end of the session, but during the sessions we'll go um, during the sessions we'll go for in between questions also, if you have any, that is okay. And after the session, if you have any questions, you can directly talk to me over Slack. Okay, so Slack will be there. So I'll provide you the access to this one. And so here so here is how it happens. Okay, so people keep questions here, and I'll try to answer. So you see the latest one. So people keep questions and I answer. People keep questions. We'll just generally start actually, and say Daniel for starting, and that is what you're going to get. So you are going to directly talk to me only, so no other person in between. So you put a question, and if I see the message, um, I will talk to you. Okay. And finally, so the content, whatever is required, will be shared over the online, and that is through the Git repositories. I have already shown you, so some previous batch one, right? So you can see this. You have different things, different tools, actually, whichever is needed to share, we'll share it over here. Okay. And I think that's all from my side. Before going with the queries, there will be general query actually from each and everyone who is coming for the DevOps course. Am I eligible for this course? Let me answer that question. So you are eligible for this particular course if you are from any of the background which you already talked about. So if you are a middleware guy, you are welcome. If you are a if you are a um, sysadmin, you are most welcome. And if you are a DBA guy, you are welcome. And if you are QA, you can welcome. And if you are a build and release guy, you are also welcome. So for this course, without any hesitation. Okay, so that is one thing. And next thing is whoever is from developers also can adopt this particular course to do the development in a better way. So developers also can go for this particular course. And whoever is coming from other background, if you feel that so coming to um, want to learn this course, I can help you on that. So but the decision has to be yours. I won't judge you to come to DevOps because you're coming from a cross background. But if you're coming from any of these backgrounds what I talked about, you're most welcome. But if you want to switch, if you decided, I can help you, or I cannot help you on the decision because that's not good. Okay, so yeah, if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat or you can unmute and ask. Okay, open for queries.
Hi Raghu, this is Pavan. Uh, Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Uh, Actually, yesterday, uh, in course content, you are also covering Docker, but it's not mentioned. Uh, will you be covering the Docker as well, or it's
Hmm.
different course?
We'll cover Docker. Without Docker, you cannot go to Kubernetes. I
Okay,
think it was
okay.
mentioned in the syllabus, I believe. Let's see. Let me pull the syllabus and cross verify that once. Um,
Yeah, I saw
So it
the
is mentioned.
it's
Mentioned. It's
here.
there.
In demo session, you have not mentioned. That's why I was surprised. Like,
I have mentioned. So that is
and
there.
I was in that. Yeah, it was.
It is there.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry, I missed it.
Yeah. So one more thing before so starting any questions. So there is a form actually which is out there. So over the chat, please fill that form so that we can follow up you back. Okay. So please fill out that particular form, everyone, so that we can follow you back. Okay. Yeah. Any questions from anyone else? You can put on chat or you can unmute and ask.
Hi Raghu, this is Anthony.
Raghu,
Yeah, Anand.
I guess someone else is asking a question about.
Yeah, go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah. So as you said, right, Jenkins code and Terraform code. What language do we use, and do we need to have any prior coding experience in that?
We'll talk about all those things. No issues. Without
Okay.
anything, you can. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll
Raghu,
You don't require
apart
any
from shell
programming
scripting,
language to be on this course. Whatever is needed for this course, completely from scratch, we'll build it up. So that's where we take a little bit time. So it takes almost 2 months to complete this course. We'll take care of everything. So right
Okay.
from
And one more question is like, are we doing any simultaneous project like the projects which are going like in a company, right? So are we
yeah,
having any live project going on while doing this
yes,
course?
yeah. So yes, this complete demonstration goes with the project only. Okay, so
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah. From the day one, we'll go for with the project. We'll understand the manual effort of the project, and we start using the tools, and we'll implement using those particular tools.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Raghu, Anand here.
yeah.
Yeah, apart from shell scripting, do we look for some other scripting as well, like
Yeah.
Ansible scripting, something like that, or?
Ansible, we already discussing about it. No issues. So
Okay.
that's okay.
Are we covering scripting part as well?
Be
Yeah,
good
we'll
enough
cover
to
shells.
like ML scripting, right? And Ansible and
One, 1 second, 1 second, Pawan.
yeah.
So yeah, so Ansible will be taken care of, and in the scripting part, we'll be covering the shell scripting. But to build your profile more, so there is a Python scripting also which you can better add to the profile. I'll not say that so Python is not needed, but I can say that Python is not needed everywhere. So in my current company which I'm working on, I'm not using Python at all. Okay, which is not needed really. Okay, so earlier, couple of even 4 years back, I used to write thousands of lines on Python, but today if you ask me basics also, I lost the basics. Even I don't know, because I've from past three and a half year, I'm not at all doing any Python scripting in my projects. Okay, it all depends upon the projects. Everywhere Python might be required, might not be required. Okay, so yeah, so add additional thing to this profile. You can to this course, what you can do apart from this course is Python scripting. Better if you have that, because most of the people, whether they need it or not, they're asking. Okay, that's the thing. So that's the only thing, but the rest of the things will take care. No issues. Ansible will take care. Shell scripting will take care. Yeah. Any other questions?
Hi Raghu, this is Mohan.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Raghu, Anthony again. So
Yeah.
Hi, Raghu.
basically, when we are done with this course, right?
One by one. Um, yeah. Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah. So basically, when we are done with this course, right, can we start applying for DevOps jobs, or should we like
The
if
answer
we
is
are
simple. I got you. The answer is simple. Whatever I'm delivering, if you are able to deliver the same points, you can,
okay?
with a
So
3 to 4 years of experience decently.
okay, okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Mohan, you're asking something. Go ahead.
Yes, Raghu. How many hours of training is required for this course? Like per day, you're giving the you're giving the lecture for like around 1 hour, right?
One
So
and a
how
half
many?
hour. 1.5 hour.
1.5.
Yeah, the total course is designed for 75 hours.
So, So how much do you think we need the training at the home?
Sorry.
After the class, how long we have to train for that? Imagine the scenario, you want me to create a AWS account and go to VPC, create the NATs and everything. So how long you think we have to practice after the lecture?
So that depends. Okay, that depends from person to person. So once you get till you get confidence, how much time you put, it's a personal, in-person capabilities. Okay, I cannot say. So that, but if you feel until you feel comfortable that you know that particular topic and you practice that particular topic, till then you have to practice. So in a decent way of 3 to 4 hours, you better keep it. You should be good, in a good shape.
Are you certified, Raghu? I'm just curious about it. Are you certified DevOps or just an amateur kind?
A very good question. So in my day one of when I started my career, so as a Linux administrator along with middleware, so I started my job as a fresher back in 2008. When I joined the organization, so how I joined is the manager just took me because I have a skill. That manager doesn't took me because I have a certification. And okay, I always, so little bit, because I was just out of my graduation. I did some course, didn't did the certification. I'm good at the practice, and while in the interview I performed a little bit well, and he took me. And the other 6 guys who were joined along with me are all certified guys. I always has a wonder. I mean, I always has a worry that these guys are better than me. Still, seriously, I used to have that worry. And in the initial meetings itself, so people used to, so talk that they are certified, they know most of the things. And the manager who recruited me, he told one thing: you have a certification, put it in the dustbin and come here, because that's of no use. And I really like that way. And I till now I don't have any certification yet. I am earning 3-4 times more than what a certificate guy actually, who a certificate guy is actually earning. Okay, I can proudly say that certificate is only for so show up if you don't know something. If you know something, you really don't worry about any certification. That's my personal experience. And as you asked me about my personal, that is my manager I was talking about. He was one of the senior director in Ericsson, and most of the conferences he will delegate most of the conferences which Ericsson is leading in USA. Okay, so yeah, he also doesn't have any certification, by the way. He also told the same thing. I don't have any certification, don't worry. I don't have, but I'm better than you. He told that to the same persons. Okay, and I really followed him, and that's how I end up. I don't have any certifications. I'm not interested. I will put that time, a certification time, in some other tool. I'll gain more knowledge than what a certificate guy will have. I don't waste my time. That's another thing basically. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions?
Raghu, do we cover VPC concepts?
Which one? Sorry.
VPC concepts.
I didn't understood.
Hello.
Sorry, I didn't understood that, Mohan. Who is
Raghu,
talking?
Anand here.
Anand. Yeah.
Anand.
I didn't understood that, Anand.
Yeah.
Can you be a bit louder?
Yeah. Do we cover VPC concepts?
Yeah, network part, yes, VPC is there in Amazon.
Hey, Raghu, what is
Okay.
your main focus actually? Is it middleware or development or sysadmins or build and release? What part you are mainly focusing?
So main focus is on DevOps, which is CI/CD activity.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the scope for middleware administrators?
Who is now a middleware guy? Middleware guys are coming out of market. The job is lost. Who is using WebLogic and WebSphere? No one. So they're coming out. So I'm not telling on my own. Let me show you. Where is WebLogic and WebSphere? They're out of session. Let me.
Uh,
I always look for market statistics only. We don't worry about so, or you don't trust me. That's what I'm always telling. Don't trust me. Look into the market statistics and understand most popular Java applications of 2017. You try to see this. So who is leader? Tomcat. So today we are running on microservices world. Okay, so WebLogic and WebSphere or JBoss, these guys are no way be coming in the market anymore. Okay, so
But Raghu, like for EJB, Tomcat will not support, right?
what?
EJB deployments or something.
I didn't get that. Sorry.
Enterprise Java Bean applications.
No, enterprise Java. That's what those applications were made on WebLogic and WebSphere. They'll run on WebLogic and WebSphere only.
I mean, they had an alternative anyway. They will go with the JBoss. Um,
Sorry.
I mean, they will go with the JBoss, but Tomcat will not support for enterprise Java Bean applications, right?
No. I always get this argument from the middleware guys. Okay, they'll go for JBoss, they'll not come for Tomcat. Who told you? Amazon. Go and read the Amazon conferences. Okay, read the Amazon blogs and read the go through the Amazon conferences in YouTube. You will clearly see Tomcat. Go for Netflix. Read their conferences, or blogs and conferences. You will see clearly the Tomcat. Okay, so it's not true. Okay, Tomcat is more and more in market.
So we need to switch the Tomcat and other tools, whatever covered the DevOps, or still WebSphere or WebLogic administrator can continue with the same technology over the DevOps. How it works
See,
actually?
there there won't be any future. Okay, so there
Mhm.
won't be any future for that guy. If you want to continue, you're still putting a barricade at certain point of time. So you're not adopting the latest way of doing the things. So
No,
see,
in the
at least
sense,
IBM. Let me tell you IBM example only. IBM example. Let me give you. IBM has their own cloud. So till last year, IBM did had WebSphere as a service. Till before, they provided only Tomcat as a service.
okay.
So that's the answer, simple answer. IBM has their own product, which is WebSphere. Why are not they? Why not they? So put their product in the first place, because that has no demand in the market.
Okay. And where you are focusing mainly, and which tools you are focusing for administrators, like middleware administrators or sys administrators?
The same
Like,
tools, whatever is given, is all needed, and all those tools will be stressed.
yeah, the thing is, you mentioned like AWS only 30% will be covered, and
I didn't mention any percentage. Again, one more thing. It's all mixed. Only Kubernetes is apart. Apart from that, everything is mixed. No individually. So we are going for a project-based approach. In project, however we use that. Okay, so the same way we'll be using and discussing. So I cannot say any percentage. Okay, so it's all mixed and proceeded. I'll not take AWS separate, DevOps separate. No, it's all mixed.
okay. One more last question actually.
Yeah.
If we learn DevOps here, do we need any AWS or any specific tool like training or whatever outside the DevOps? Like, our focus is mainly maybe a couple of tools, like whatever the leading tools. Do we need to go outside training, other training, or how it works? Like, the whatever you are covering, that is sufficient enough.
So that should be more than enough. You don't need to really go for any training. So with this particular knowledge, you can learn those particular things and you can be able to do the certification. So if you want to really do the certification, don't waste on Amazon. Okay. So that's waste of time and money. So you really don't require, because it's just an objective based, and so you give me 2000 extra and I'll point to some other guy, they'll get the certificate for you. So certificate, that's what I'm telling you. So certificate really doesn't show your by showing the certificate you'll not get a job. By showing the certificate you probably get a chance to get an interview. Probably in the interview you are not performing, you'll not get a job, right? So if you want to really do the certification, do the Kubernetes one, CKA. Okay, at least to be onto the latest, if you are talking about, then do Kubernetes certification.
What
Then
are
going
the
for waste Amazon and Azure, don't do that. Or at least on the cloud side, if you want to do Amazon, is simple. You're only you can easily get a lot of videos, and you can easily learn that. That's okay. try to do Google certification than Amazon. So if you really want to be on the, doing the latest technology certifications, do Google and Kubernetes, not Amazon.
Okay.
My personal suggestion. Yeah.
Raghu, me, Pavan, last but not least. Will you be covering like a proxy kind of thing, any
I don't
domain?
recall it.
You do, right?
Okay, sorry. Proxy for what?
For proxy of any application kind of forward proxy,
Yeah,
reverse proxy,
yes,
configuration settings.
yeah. I thought in a different way. Sorry for that. Yeah, it is.
Okay, thanks. I'm done now, Raghu.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, Raghu, Shiva here. After listening of
So, another year. So,
Shiva, you just ping in the group chat.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
Yeah, Raghu, after listening of 1 hour of your class, I got a confident like the teaching will be good. But my question is like, let's say I have 4 years of experience to Linux and shell script administration. Say after completion of this course, if I want to apply for a job like DevOps, I may need to put at least 2 years of experience into DevOps, right?
Yeah.
So definitely they will be asking like, can you explain what you have done in current organization? So will you be trained in that way?
Yeah, obviously the same. Again, already someone asked. And if you are in a position to deliver the same thing, whatever I'm teaching, the answer is
Yeah.
yes. In between 3 to 4 years, you can always keep.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Yeah, that is not so easy, by the way. Okay.
Yeah.
People come back to me after a year and say that, hey, Raghu, I got the job now. Some people will say immediately. Okay, so depends. Because people are working and, so they have their personal commitments. They need time. It takes sometimes time. Okay. So, but still, definitely if you are able to do that, definitely you will be able to.
And Raghu, when you start from tomorrow or?
Tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock is the timing.
Oh, okay.
6
Okay.
o'clock, 6 a.m. IST, whoever is there at the time.
Okay, thanks, Raghu. I'm disconnecting now, and I will
Yeah.
join in tomorrow.
All right.
In the same webinar, or you will be providing the different.
So the same one will be continued for a couple of days, and after that we'll change and share. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
So anyone, any other questions?
Raghu, the timing will be remain same, right? All throughout the course, morning 6 to
Yes.
7:30.
7:30, Monday to Saturday, every day for 2 months. Yeah. Sometimes
Okay.
may not be Saturdays. Okay, one or two generally. Otherwise, it will be.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
yeah, Manuela. So, well, I'm trying to ask, can someone who is new to the IT system key into this program?
Sorry, Anila, your voice is little echoing for me. Like,
What I'm saying is, can someone who is new to the IT world do this DevOps training?
Yeah, they can.
Okay. And another question I have is this: what configuration of computer do you need to start it, or just normal Windows computer can do it?
Yeah, good question. So you don't require anything because you're learning cloud, you learn everything on cloud. Okay, so your desktop, so the same desktop, whatever you are using to connect right now to the session, the same desktop is fine. You don't need to put additional any single, so single buck to upgrade your laptop or buy a laptop. Okay, don't do that. We have a cloud, and so they offer some free services. And so apart from that, so probably you may need to pay between $5 to $10 in between. You have to pay to the cloud to complete this course. Okay, you don't need to have anything local. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we
Okay.
still have this class tomorrow too?
Yeah, tomorrow, and the timings is going to be will be shared by Siva to you. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not sure which time zone you are in.
All
So
right.
with
Thank you.
6 a.m. Yeah.
Raghu,
Yeah, Joyce.
yeah, you will be covering in monitoring session. You will be covering Nagios as well, right?
No, New Relic monitoring.
Okay. I mean, some part of Nagios also you will be covering,
No,
or
no.
you're like a
Nagios,
monitoring
yeah,
only.
Nagios is very, very lazy one. Okay. So you have much better than those. Okay. So we'll go for SaaS solution, which is New Relic monitoring. Any SaaS is fine. So I can go for New Relic, or I can go for Section 4x7, or I can go for Datadog, okay, or Dynatrace. Any SaaS solution is better than Nagios.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll understand it better than Nagios. Okay,
Nagios.
monitoring. If you go for the SaaS solutions. Yeah.
Okay. In along with shell scripting, Python little you will be covering, or
No, only shell
no?
scripting, but we'll use somewhere we'll use actually, as it mentioned in the services, we are actually going to use Lambda. Okay, so we are going to put some small Python script to complete that. Okay, but I'll not be explaining Python. It's a pre-written script. I'll just put it there and show you how it works. Nothing more than that. Okay, so
Oh,
Python you try to better learn apart from this course. So our major concentration on is on CI/CD activities, what a pure DevOps engineer does in the organization. Yeah.
oh,
Mm.
okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Raghu, to work on ML script, do we need to
We'll talk
learn
about
any other scripting part?
anything. See, you come to this particular course with empty, with empty brain. Okay, you don't need anything at all. I will build up everything what is needed.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Amal also as a part of it. I'll take care. No issues. All I'll be expecting from you is practice. Okay, you don't need to do anything at all. Just whatever I give, you need to practice that, and you have to gain that knowledge. That's the only thing which is needed.
Hi, Raghu.
Yeah.
Got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you provide any like reading materials?
Yeah, the same sessions will be provided as videos to you for your practice.
Okay, just videos, no like recommended like books or reading, PDF materials or
Uh,
something like
Not required. So because we are actually here talking about different tools, and every tool has their own documentation. Okay, so we don't need to go for a particular book and learning it. So we're learning tools here. Every tool has tool documentation in their website. You need anything, just go and read there. That's all. That is
that?
better.
Okay, so there's no specific one that you would recommend.
No,
Anything we can find is okay.
not required. That's a old way of teaching or learning, probably I can say. So today, at least this course, forget about the others probably. This course is tools, and tools provide their documentation. And if you know anything, if you want to know about anything on the tool, you have to go to the tool documentation. But if you go for a book, what is the problem? Even I don't provide any document from our side, because these tools are very, very volatile. So they change. You're talking about technology, and you talk about fast moving of your application. They themselves also move fast, basically. Okay, so that's where if you go for a book or a particular so documentation, what happens is you will lose the features whichever is coming out of latest whichever the latest features coming up of that particular tool. But if you always go for the tool documentation, you can always be on the right path. So knowing about even any new features which is coming into the tool, you will be looking into those as well. So
Okay,
yeah, that's the only concern, only reason, basically. Yeah.
okay, thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah. All right. If no questions, we can meet in tomorrow session then. So please fill out the form which is there in the chat so that so we can send you the details. And tomorrow we are going to continue the session at 6 a.m. IST in the morning and 6 to 7:30. Please fill the details so that we can send you the recording as well as the further details to you. Okay. Thank you once again. Have a great weekend and see you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you, Raghu.
Yeah. Is the class over now? Is the class over?